I do have some opinions about what art is, and most people do, and it's a huge subject. It's not something that can be easily defined, but I think there are some core elements to what makes something art, and maybe what one of the ways of looking at this is to ask ourselves what isn't art. It's a curious thing, the things that we call art. Um, I've sometimes looked at a piece of marble, and I've sometimes looked at a wooden door, and I've thought, I could look at that all day. And again, maybe it's just me being around too much paint. But if you take some time and really look at it, and the wonder of the grain, and the wonder of the color changes, and the edge transformations, and the texture of the surface, I mean, they're all amazing things, and we just kind of walk by them, you know but back to that nail on the wall. So if we took that same piece of marble and hung it on a wall and put it in a gallery, people might even pay to go see it. Like, it's just remarkable, isn't it? It's all around us. So somehow or other we have the those who know present to us the things that are around us all the time, and in an exquisite way, and that's an art form in itself. I'm going to argue that that's an art form in itself. Presentation. If you look at Anson, in your family you have people who arrange flowers, and there are some magnificent arrangements with flowers. And if you look at a plate of food, if you go to some of the Michelin restaurants, you're going to find food put on a plate that looks like you don't want to eat it because it's too beautiful. So we can argue that art is also presentation. Now, is it an artist that did the replication, or was it a craftsperson? And so I'm not saying that craft isn't art either. I want to be careful not to step on anyone's toes here, but the ability, as you say, Carol, the ability to be able to replicate something and make it smaller at the same time. What an incredible ability. There are a lot of forgers in the world who forge paintings, and forgers are remarkable individuals in many ways. Some of them end up in jail, but they're truly remarkable. It's when, and I look at the idea of, well, fake art, if you want to call it that. I mean, there's lots of fake news these days. But if you look at what is fake art, well, in order to produce something that looks authentic, in fact, in itself, is authentic in itself. It takes as much effort to, maybe even more effort to create something that looks like someone else's authentic piece. So should we be recognizing forgeries as artwork? Well, I'm leaving that there as a question. Is it as valuable? Does it have the same subtext? It wasn't the same person creating it, but certainly takes an incredible amount of skill and time and knowledge to do such a thing. So I also want to point out that on the worst side of making a flop cake, it can sometimes really taste good. And then we get into the senses, because really I think art it really good art. When I say good art, there's nothing about good and bad here, and good and evil. I'm not talking that. I'm not speaking that way. But perhaps the most profound art is the one that involves the most senses also. So if you think about, taste and touch and sound, and sight, if you look at our basic senses, before Hollywood used to be the churches. Churches were Hollywood. Like, you'd go to church, and there were bells, there were, you know, there was smoke and fire, and there was music, and you even had wine. You know, and I mean, wine is one of those interesting things because you know, it does involve pretty much all of our senses. It's visual, it involves there's aroma, so there's taste and smell, touch, and the sound when you clink glasses. You know that it involves a lot of. No wonder people love it. Um, it's sort of, you know, one of those things, and there's an after effect, you know, if you have enough of it. So this idea of art um, involving the senses to me is something that's very powerful. And back to Lola, your question about play, I think that um, really play is not um, it's not it's not something that is about being adequate. It's not, play is not utilitarian. Play is play. Play is exploration. Play is having fun. And in the and in playing, if you watch children, and especially children, they're very creative. They're very playful. They learn how to communicate with each other this way. And actually, for me, art is a language. So if I had to sum it up in sort of one word, if I can say that, art is language, and that crosses all the arts. It crosses theater, film, and music, and you know, painting and sculpture, and all of those things. It is a language. Whether we understand the language or what it means to us is what we bring to it. You know, that's the subtext of what we have in our own life's experience.